All right, all right, all right. What's happening, everybody? It's me, Robert Phoenix. We're back with another edition of the Astro Weather. And shall we do a little proof of life here? Oh, look who's here this morning. Look who's here this morning. It is the Buddha of Kerrville, Mr. Jasper, in the house. That's right. You're playing the wingman today, aren't you? He is. Peachy was just here, and she decided to skip out before the show started. She's like, I got my pets. Okay, I'm done. How is everybody? A lot of talk about the weather, not just the astro weather, but the weather going on in and around the world. I got my mic hooked up. We're good to go. Uh, Here the weather sucks. It really sucks. It is gray overcast. Apparently they've got these fires in Mexico. They do this like seasonal burn, and then the smoke drifts north to where we are because we're not that far from the Mexican border. And then we have just the requisite heat and humidity, and it is fugly. It is fugly weather. What we could really use is a nice rainstorm just to cleanse everything, cleanse the atmospheric palette, so that we had some good vibes in the air. Speaking of good vibes, a lot of good vibes in chat. Let's partake of some of those good vibes. There he is, back on top, not once but twice. Our man, DJ MC, Michael. What's happening, brother? Pedrita Pebbles. Good to see you, Lara. As always, privacy anti-scam, DuckDuckGo, and Bing searches aren't working, are having problems. We think it's a conspiracy to mask some Today news or otherwise a test. The search engines have been horrid for a long time. A long time. Google is, unless you're looking up something like a phone number for a company, Google's worthless. Whenever you type in something, the first thing you're going to get are at least 5 to 6 sponsored results. So people are paying to go to the top of the search, which is, capitalism at its finest, right? I don't really have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with, okay, go ahead, put your paid searches at the top. But after you get out of your paid searches, then why don't you have a real search and come up with real results? They won't do that. And before, you used to have to go 5, 6, 7, 8 layers deep into Google searches to find the thing that you're looking for. They don't have that anymore. Even when you go 5, 6, 7, 8 layers deep, you're still cutting through the kudzu. And you could go all the way to the end, which would be like number 20. And there was a time with Google where you could just keep going infinitely with whatever most obscure search results were happening or came up for you were. They stopped that. So it's like the wall in the Truman Show. So when you get to that final, like whatever that is, 20 or whatever, there's no more after that. And you know that there is, but they're just not going to show it to you. So not only that, but there is this dead internet that I think is very real. So they create the dead internet by severely limiting search results. That's number one. And then number two, there are websites that are literally taken offline. They may still exist, but they're taken offline. Like literally, they're not being recognized. So you would have to know the exact URL to find a certain website. Back in the golden days, back in the old days, back around 2002 and 2003, the internet was interesting, and Google was just learning how to walk. Google was just starting its model as what was it, right around 2002. And of course, prior to that, there were a number of competing search engines. There was Yahoo had a pretty good market share in terms of a search engine. Infomax was another search engine. Ask Jeeves, which I couldn't really figure out, although I think the idea is that you would pay for more complex algorithmic results on your search. Alta Vista was another competitor. So you had all these competing search engines, which I think was a good thing. What happened with Google is that they finally tuned their algorithms so that the search results came faster, and theoretically there was less chaff that you would receive back. So it'd be more specific and faster, and that's what set Google apart from a lot of its competitors. And then it became, unfortunately, the industry standard, and they have way too much power now. Google has its roots in Stanford, which is where it was developed by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. And I'll give you a little insight about Stanford. A long time ago, I was touring the campus with the person who was in charge of sort of musical and cultural events on the campus, which was not an insignificant gig, considering the budget that Stanford has to bring in speakers and musical artists and the like. And so we were there for a couple of days because my buddy was essentially opening for the Dalai Lama, who was there for one day to address students and then address the elite in another part of the campus. And I was a part of both of those performances. And so as he walked us around, I think a day or two before the actual event, maybe about a week, he said that Stanford is Langley West and that it is crawling with spooks, which means that there's a heavy-duty Central Intelligence influence that flows through the campus. So you add that up with Google, sprinkle a little DARPA, which is just up the road, and this is the beast that they've created. And that's one of the reasons why I want to move to Linux. I want to begin to divorce myself from Google and even Apple. So I don't know what we do with search engines because apparently DuckDuckGo and Bing are down. So there are others. There's Yandex, which you can use. There's a few others, but Google has created a monopoly. Let's be clear about it. They've created a monopoly. So Yahoo still has a search, and you may be able to get something done with Yahoo. All right. Let's see who else we have. Patricia, just being me. Well, you know what? If you try to be somebody else, it never works. Never works. Unless you're David Bowie. And then it'll work for a little bit. And then you become somebody else, and then somebody else, and somebody else. Mary Lee. Stormy Nash Vegas. We can use a little of that rain. There she is, big cat lady. Julie Sunshine, 333. California Contrarian, definitely move up and away. Yeah, it'll be more hands-on, but yeah, it's time. We got the full moon, which we're talking about today. Ain't that right, Susie Gemini? It's Susie Gemini's month. It's Susie month. It's also Gay Pride month. Not quite yet, but soon. Let's see. Lynn is here. Who else? Nora Rashid, the Queen of Speed. She's here. Jackie Delario checking in from Southern New Jersey. Probably the best place in New Jersey to be, if I'm being completely honest. Christina Jerzik. Hey, what's happening? From sunny Ohio, Green Eyed Crow. What is going on, Green Eyed? Sharon Lewis. Happy full moon in Sag. Yes. Let's all do something a little too much. Let's all overindulge in at least one thing today to celebrate the moon. Warlanda, I am down 1 cup of coffee. Oh, I got 1 sip left. That's for you, Warlanda. Good to see you. There's my man, TJ, Tomas Jordan, Pen Greedy, Crab Gemini, Whitney Palm. You know, I'm going to put this up right there. Didn't mind seeing Scorpio moon move on. I am with you. I felt like I was in an Instapot for 2 days with the Scorpio moon. I'm with you on that. That wasn't your typical Scorpio moon. There's my man, Ryan, the introspective woodworker, the lovely and talented one, Dr. Jonas. Hi, hi, hi. Scott Jerzik. Good to see you, Scott. Shauna Lay. Great risings back to you. Kelly B is here. Sweet Woodruff. Checking in from the DFW. What's happened? We got a pretty strong DFW crowd. Harry Bowie. Hey. Source My McMahon. Hello, back at you. Miss Nikki is here. Janine. We got a Janine sighting. Greetings, Janine. How you doing? Esperanza Venstaro. She's here with bedtime story adventures. I like that. We need more bedtime story adventures. Terry Marine, what's going on, Terry? Good to see you back in the flow, back in the mix. Guard Girl. They got some thunderstorms in West North Carolina. Love thunderstorms. Love the thunderstorms. Double K, Catherine Kramer. Blue skies and no chemtrails. Hallelujah. Well, we're getting ready to get out of chemtrail season. You know how that works. Is that the southern hemisphere starts to get the chemtrails. Basically, from our late spring to our sort of mid-fall. That's how they do it. They just follow the winter cycle. So, theoretically, you'll be getting less of those nasty chemtrails, although their residue sticks around for a long time. Atlantis Rising. Great risings back to you, Denise Denton. Humid in Austin. I know, right? We're just down the road, and we've got the Guadalupe. No shortage of humidity here. Laura E. Hello, Laura. Jan Emily from Ottawa, checking in with us. Hi, Jan. Misbehaving too. Who else we got? Restless Evening Moon last night. I was out of it. I got to say, I was out of it. I fell asleep. I was watching the most obscure, maybe not for me, but I was watching the most obscure thing on YouTube last night when I fell asleep. I was watching an NBA playoff game from, 1989, when the Golden State Warriors were playing the Los Angeles Lakers. And Sleepy Floyd, and there was a reason he was named Sleep. His name was Eric, but he looked like he was asleep all the time. His eyelids were like half closed all the time. He had probably one of the most tremendous quarters of basketball I'd ever seen in my life. I think he scored 51 points that night, and the Warriors beat the Lakers and kept them from sweeping the Warriors. And it was one of those things where if you could have one moment in your life where you could do anything, and there were no limitations to what you could do, he had that moment, right? For a quarter of basketball in his life against the most powerful team in the NBA, for one quarter, Sleepy Floyd was God. He was God. And I was watching that. My God, look at this. He was, if you've ever played sports, you could get into the flow of the game. It's kind of like life. Like life has its own inner flow. Although the thing with sports is that it's so immediate, it's easier to get there faster. And that's where he was. He was inside the flow of the game. It's almost like the Tao of the game. And when you're in the Tao of the game, you can do just about anything. You're in the right place, right time, and it's incredible. And I fell asleep. Let's see. Search engines have been scrubbed. Yes, they have. Yes, they have. Yandex is a Russian search engine, which can yield some interesting results. Queen Lisa. Had a good chat with Queen Lisa yesterday. Caught up on her new life in Florida. Seems to be doing just fine. Just fine. And we all fondly remember King Pat. King Pat. We all fondly remember King Pat. And we miss him. I miss him. He was a good dude. He was a really good dude. I miss him. I know you do. Maria DeAnge, Elizabeth Bryant. There's my man Steve. It is Thursday, as always. Soul Traveler. It seems like it's storming all over the world, or at least in the United States. Not here. Back in the day when WWW was the Wild Wild West. Well put, Harriet. Well put. I agree with that. Integrity and Karma. Checking in with us, Claire. From London. Claire M. from London. Let's see. Ask Jeeves is Suri's granddad. That's about right. Terry Catterley. Hi, Terry. They've had Gemini for a while. So Google has had Gemini for a while. But yes, you're right. Isn't that interesting? Let's mirror reality. Moira in NYC. Looks like she made it back from the shore. I hope you had a torpedo while you were there. Ziggurats. Breyer's ice cream was great when I was a kid. Today, it can't be legally called ice cream. Like, what is in the stuff, right? What is in anything these days? My son has a Linux computer. Oh. Liddy Lou. Start page is okay. I wouldn't call it great. It's okay. The Brave browser is fine. National Chemtrail Awareness Month. You know, back in the day when I was on Facebook, as a joke, I created International Chemtrail Day. And it was on May 1st. And lo and behold, we have International Chemtrail Awareness Month in May. I was slightly ahead of my time. Ojas Azules, Peter Bayon. What's up, Peter? Meow meow. Sigurd. We got to put a little Sigurd right there. Good to see you, Sigurd. Are we caught up? Robin Dan. Hot Dan. Checking in from NYC. Had the pleasure of meeting Robin last year at our gathering. Very cool person. Knight of Cups. Scorpio has been hell for me. Moon in Cancer is always a big mess for me when the moon is in Scorpio. That Scorpio moon, that square to Pluto and that opposition with Mercury, fuck. It was medieval. Emmy Green, checking in from Houston. Brandy Herrera, she's on the move again. Almost from Oklahoma City. I was watching a really bizarre episode of a series. What series? You can't leave us hanging. Cliff High has remedies for chemtrail detox. All right. That's funny. NBA 89 is what I expected. I'll tell you how I got there. No, I won't. I won't bore you. Let's get into the weather. Everybody who I haven't greeted, welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. Oh, speaking of welcome to the show, look who's here. Little Miss Chair Scratcher. Oh, she thinks she's so cute. Wait till she meets the Nazi squirt gun, the fascist squirt gun that is going to modify her behavior. Yeah, she hasn't seen anything yet. All right, let's get into the weather. Right, here we go. Giddy up and running. There's that full moon in Sagittarius. And it's exact 2 and 2 in Terrence Howard world. That's 2. No, I'm just kidding. We got a full moon there, and I love it. I love the Sagittarian full moon. It's like a breath of somewhat fresh air coming out of the dank of the Scorpio moon. And again, I do not wish to offend any people with Scorpio moons. Nothing I ever say on this show is meant to be taken personally, unless you're a Pisces, in which case, take as much as you want. No, again, I'm just kidding. It feels like today we have kind of had enough. We've had enough. It's not, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. It's we've had enough. Yesterday I saw a tiny little deer, tiny little deer, the tiniest little deer I've ever seen in my life in my backyard. And you know what? It felt good to see that tiny little deer. I'm serious. And then there were 2 bigger deer around it. Like, those are the moments that are kind of worth living for. Like, I'd never seen a deer that small. It was so damn cute. So cute. And Sagittarius, rules animals in the outdoors. Get outside. Get outside today. If the search engines are down, go outside and let nature be your search engine. I'm totally serious about this. Now, if you're in one of these parts of the United States where it's rainy, hell, go outside when it rains. Don't let it stop you. Unless, of course, it's chemtrail rain. You may want to wait. But get outside today. Don't sit around. Don't mope and meditate on the end of Western civilization. It'll be there when you get back. Get outside and fill your emotional body with the expansive nature of potential. And I love Gemini. But what does Gemini do? Gemini breaks everything down into its micro components. Right? Gemini is all about the micro. Like, there's this, and this, and this. And Sagittarius is about the maximum. So we're in this dance between the micro and the max. Today, go with the max. Go with the max. It doesn't mean you have to, have 3 courses at the Cheesecake Factory, but go with the max. Go outside, live, breathe, connect. Remind yourself that you're in, for now, a carbon-based world, and see what kind of resonance you get from it. The moon is doing some nice things, especially early in the day here. If you're in another part of the world, you can still, of course, experience this. And it's the sextile to Pluto. So how does that work out? Well, the things that you emotionally resonate with, which fill you rather than deplete you, the sextile to Pluto anchors it. Pluto is magnetic. Scorpio is magnetic. It either repels or attracts. Wouldn't that be like Magneto, the bad guy from X-Men? He seems like a fucking Scorpio. He's obsessed, right? He's obsessed. He wants to rule the world, take over all the mutants, kill all the humans. There's no middle path with Magneto. There's none. He's like, yeah, I've given it some thought. Humans are okay. And I don't have to rule everything. I can just have the mutants that, vow allegiance to me. No, he's all or nothing. So this is one of those days where if you step out with the sextile and you have interesting experiences, resonant experiences, you can make them a part of who you are. Like today is a day of bonding with a carbon-based reality. Get out there. Take your shoes off. Go hang out by the water. Get under a tree. Go for a walk. Do your best. But this is, we have all this computerized energy over here. Even with Taurus, it seems very computerized with Uranus. Now, this is not one of those days. So embrace nature. Embrace the expansive component of it not being separate from you. A long time ago, it was 4th of July in 1996. And it was one of these rare nights in San Francisco where it was warm and clear in July. You just don't get these nights in July. And it was back in the day when I was doing tarot reading on Fisherman's Wharf. And I'd had this great day. Like, everything was like I was having a Sleepy Floyd fourth quarter on July 4th that day. And everything was flowing, right? The cards were flowing. Everything was flowing. The money was, I never got rich, but, it wasn't one of those days where I walked away and said, I probably could have been doing something better with my life for the last 6 hours or whatever. And that was good. And then afterwards, right there by Ghirardelli Square, in the cannery, they've got this park where the cable car turns around. And they have concerts there every now and then. They had the Chambers Brothers. This is 1996. The Chambers Brothers could still bring it. And of course, their big hit was Time. And that was cool. And then they had the fireworks. And so I matriculated, way out past Fort Mason. They have these, like this promontory that sits out there on the bay. It was a clear night. And the fireworks started going off. And it was one of these moments where I felt like there was no separation between my head and the sky. And all those fireworks were just going off inside of my mind. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was like everything was just connected, right? And I'm not saying you're going to have that experience, but that's what I'm talking about here with this moon and Sag and the sextile to Pluto, and then the trine to Neptune, because the boundaries become very thin. And if you've had a challenging or negative last 48 hours, well, here's an opportunity to flip the script. And the thing I love about the moon in Sagittarius is that it's magnanimous. It's abundant. It is generous. So if you practice some of those things today, you never know when they'll come back to you. Who knows? You might run into somebody else who might be practicing those things on their own. So take advantage of the full moon, get out there and, enjoy yourself, get expansive. And of course, the mantra for Sagittarius is anything worth doing is worth overdoing. I'm only slightly kidding here. But coming out of that dark Scorpio moon, it was like, you're free. You're free. Prison gates open. Go ahead. Get some fresh air. Okay, what else do we have going on? Mercury solidly in Taurus. Now it's moved into the second decan, which puts it in the Virgo decan. And now we're all about details. Details. I actually like this decan for the Taurus moon because you're dealing with the fixed elemental nature of Taurus, which is all about with Mercury, what's it worth? What's the value? Right? The mind is attuned to what is of value, and there's nothing wrong with that. Right? We live in a multidimensional world, and one of those dimensions is the material world. And that's where Taurus shows up, right? With Mercury in Virgo, it's about the particulars. So if you are a person, and I know this sounds a little contrary, but it's not. But if you're a person who is budget minded, today is a good day to look at that. It's a very good day. In fact, the next 9 days with Mercury and Taurus are very good days to look at your budget, your bottom line, your money. Where is it? What's it doing? Maybe this is a day where you look around and you say, oh my God, I can't believe I'm still subscribed to this or this or this. And next thing you know, you've whacked off $70 of recurring subscriptions that you just let drift, and everybody's got them. So this may be one of those days or this period over the next 9 days where you're looking at those things. So where can I save? Sometimes you don't have to acquire assets. Sometimes what you have to do is eliminate the debits that can turn into assets just by eliminating them. Now, when you do get into this decan, and we're really kind of at the end of the square with Pluto, it can also induce a little bit of panic because Virgo is really good. Virgo is a weird sign. I'm just being straight up. It's a weird sign because Virgo can be at times very cool on the surface. And on the inside, they got the fucking hamster wheel going. Right. So it's a really interesting dance that Virgo does with chaos and order. Right. So here at this degree in square with Pluto, there could be a sense of almost overreach in some ways and wanting to take care of everything immediately. Take your time, right? Chisel away, whittle away. Don't feel like you have to go all in and completely change your financial game and plug up all the leaks in one day. Take your time. Mercury's going to be in this decan for the next 9 days. The most immediate intensity is right here today. But then we have this Sagittarian moon. So if we're playing the the Calvinist game, right? Get your work done, and then go out. So you don't feel guilty about not getting your work done. And when you're done, then go out and enjoy nature. I love the moon trine with Neptune. It is creative. It is not very judgmental. It's not very judgmental. If you wanted to be magnanimous with somebody who has been, a classic pain in the ass. Today is one of those days where you can be magnanimous. And it's not a put on. It's not a fake. Right? It's just, fire up with the energy. There is some small stuff you got to take care of. Right? This is the Mercury Pluto square. Take care of the small stuff. And then after that, don't sweat it. Let it go. Go out and enjoy yourself, right? Be social. Thursday's always a good night to go out. I've always enjoyed Thursday. But what happened is that other people started to go out on Thursday. And then it was like, well, everybody's going Thursday now. So maybe we should go out on Wednesday night, really, because everybody's doing Thursday instead of Friday. It's still a good day. We are still also dealing with Mars and Aries and still kind of hanging in there with the True. The next big transit of Mars is going to be with Chiron. And we'll be there by Sunday? Sunday, Monday, we'll have that Mars Chiron conjunction. That doesn't bode well. That does not bode well. I don't mean to rain on the Moon and Sagittarius parade, but that does not bode well. That to me feels really false flaggy. Like, okay, all right, something happened here. Guns were involved, and there are people to blame. And in Aries, it's really, really easy to make the connection between Aries and Aryan and patriot and white and supremacist and that whole, in my estimation, false narrative. So we're not there yet, but it's coming. Now, on a personal level, you're going to have to demonstrate your strength, and you may have to stand alone when you do it. It's part of life, but we're not there yet. Let's see. Sort of rounding everything off. We still have the nice trines going on. The Sun-Pluto trine is really great. Really, really great. And, you can play with all kinds of interesting models of reality with Gemini, right? Flat Earth, round Earth, sim Earth, whatever, right? There's so many variables and models of reality. Gemini just loves. Well, there's this and this and this and this and this and this. The Earth's not 6 million years. It's only 6,000 years old. Did you know that the Earth is really only 6,000 years old? And do you know that the sun is really only about 1,000 miles away, and the moon is really about maybe 20 miles away at best? Like those models of reality. That's what Gemini loves to do. And the trine with Pluto kind of allows you to sort of play with that stuff in a way where it's like, oh, that's interesting. And you may come up with your own model or your own synthesis. Venus is right there at 29. Taurus getting ready to move into Gemini. And Venus and Gemini it's pretty gossipy. It's a pretty gossipy aspect. It is also the planet of love triangles, right? That is the aspect of love triangles with Venus and Gemini. And today it's exact Jupiter. All right, I'm gonna advocate something today that I don't normally advocate. Go play the lottery. I swear to God, I don't normally advocate this, but if there's gonna be a day where you can win, go play the lottery today with that Venus Jupiter conjunction in Gemini. And I don't, whatever lottery you want to play. If you want to play a scratcher, you want to play some numbers, I think today's a lucky day. It's a lucky day. Even if we have this moon opposition over here in Sag, it's a lucky day. Here's what I will say. Don't spend $100 on the lottery. That would be my caveat. And all these trines to Pluto going on right now, which I really like. And I think it's a time where you can cement really important friendships and relationships during this period of time. And if there's somebody in your life you really care about, you really like, you really respect, and you haven't said that or shared that with them in a while, maybe ever, today's a good day to do it. Today's a good, and maybe you can even buy them a nice little gift or something. It doesn't even have to be expensive. It could be just a little thing, a little token that says, you know what? I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Today's a really good day for that. and it cements the bonds of relationship. Isn't that right, Peaches? Peaches, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Peaches. I appreciate you. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to buy you some nail guards. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy her those little nail guards. That's what I'm going to do. I love you that much. I'm going to put they'll be multicolored for Pride Month. You have multicolored nail guards, rainbow nail guards. There you go. That's how much I love her. All right. Let's get into the star of the day. And of course, when we do that, we have to talk about True Hemp Science, which is the sponsor of the show. There we go. And True Hemp Science is your one-stop shop for all of your CBD needs. And all you got to do, go there, spend $100 or more, and type in 15MINS, 15MINS, and you will get a free goodie bag with your order of $100 or more. There's always free shipping if you spend $150 or more. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is part of your deal. And you can always go there to the website, make an appointment with Chris, and ask him, hey, what is the best CBD for me? Tell him what's going on, and he will be your Sherpa. He'll be your guide. He'll take you to where you need to go. TrueHempScience.com. All right. Let's get into our True Hemp Science. Today was kind of a hard day to come up with a star of the day. Last year, who did we have? We had Ken Jennings. The guy who was the big winner on Jeopardy. And man, did he have the fucking chart for Jeopardy and trivia. We don't like to repeat here. Today's True Hemp Science star of the day is marvelous Marvin Hagler, who pound for pound might have been one of the greatest boxers of all time. The only guy that beat him more than once was Sugar Ray Leonard. And Sugar Ray, after he beat him the second time, dodged him. He wouldn't fight him again because he knew that if Marvin Hagler had one more crack at him, he would have destroyed Ray. During his heyday, when he was fighting in the middleweight class, the guys that he fought were brutal. He had a draw with this Italian boxer named Vito Antuofermo. And I actually watched that fight on TV, and these guys just went at it. They went at it. There was another guy, I think he was an English boxer by the name of Alan Minter, who was in that weight class. And Alan Minter was a tough son of a bitch. And he lost to Hagler, but it wasn't, Hagler had to win. He had to earn that fight. And there's this other guy named Mustafa Hamsho, who Hagler had to fight. And he was another just tough son of a bitch. Like, these guys were, made of nails. So Hagler dominated his class as a boxer. And it's always, I think, intriguing to try to find the man and the legacy inside the chart. So one of the things that we know about Hagler is the importance of his mother. And it's this moon in Aquarius, which is the mother, and how his mother, and there's a moment in time, and I want to read this to you because it actually, to me, encapsulates that Aquarius moon at the top of the chart. And it's an event from when he's young. So I'm just gonna go over to Wikipedia quickly. And I want to read you this one paragraph because I think it really typifies this Aquarian moon, not just from the maternal place, but from this pivotal life place, right? And he's got the moon at the top of the chart, and the Aquarius moon is, very objective in a lot of ways. So let me just read you this paragraph so you can understand what I'm talking about. So at this time, he is living in the Central Ward of Newark, New Jersey. Following the riots of 1967, in which 26 people were killed and $11 million in property damage was caused, including the destruction of the Hagler's tenement, his family moved to Brockton, Massachusetts. Hagler said that looking down, right, this is from the moon, looking down on the streets at the looters was almost like watching ants on a picnic table. That is your Aquarian moon looking down. Ida Mae, that's his mother, described the riots as really terrifying, and nobody left the Hagler apartment for 3 days. Sounds kind of biblical. The family lay under Veronica's bed during this time with a pair of bullets. Is Veronica's mother? I got to be clear on this. Hold on. One of them is his sister. Yeah. So I think Veronica was his sister. So they're under her bed, right? The family lay under Veronica's bed during this time with a pair of bullets smashing through the bedroom window and shattering the plaster above the bed. Hagler and his siblings were forbidden from standing up by Ida Mae, who told her children to stay away from the windows. The family crawled about the 5-room apartment, sliding around on cushions to reach the bathroom and kitchen. Once the riot was over, the nearby neighborhoods were mostly in ruin, and many cars had been stripped for parts. After another riot nearly 2 years later, Hagler and his family got out of Newark and moved to Brockton, Mass. So that's what I'm talking about with the Aquarian moon and how just kind of looking down at everything from this detached perspective. And finally, 2 years later, right, mom says, let's get out of here. So he moves to Brockton, Mass. And that's where him and his brother begin boxing training. And he's got this Mars in Capricorn. And one of the things that Hagler was known for was his endurance. And he had an iron jaw. Like this guy was really hard to knock down. And he was in better shape than almost any boxer. So you can see that with that Mars True Node conjunction. And that's what, the Mars True Node conjunction is he's going to be a warrior, right? That's his path in this lifetime. And a boxer is a warrior. And and what does he do? He gets to the top. That's Capricorn. I got another story about his True Node, which I'll get to in a minute, which really plays this whole thing out and ties it up in a nice, neat way. He's got the sun in the first house in Gemini. And it's also interesting that he has a brother that also boxes, right? And he's got that Taurus rising. So, he's determined. He's got that determination. And, which is pretty cool, right? He's got that determination. Sun in Gemini, and he's got that sun moon trine, which, again, I'm going to tie this in, will make him pretty adaptable in a very interesting kind of way. And as a Gemini, he actually winds up almost having another life, which I'll get into. And he's smart. He's got Mercury in Gemini. Anybody that's got Mercury in Gemini is smart. And he's got that sextile to Pluto. So he wasn't just, physical and kind of an Iron Man. Like he knew how to box. He knew he was a fighter and a boxer. I think Marvin Hagler, probably one of the top 5 boxers of all time. And he has that Venus Jupiter conjunction at 2929 in the second house. And I'm gonna tie this in, right? And the south node is conjunct Uranus in Cancer. And he is, again, this is really like, I think all of this chart is interesting, but this is the one part of his chart that's totally fascinating. And before I get to it, I do have to talk about the in conjunct with Saturn, and that's the father. And I do think that Marvin Hagler had something to prove. Father's not around. He had to be kind of the man of the house, and he had to have something to prove. All right, let me talk about his second life. Marvin Hagler eventually moves to Italy, which takes him up into the ninth house with the true node. And he becomes an actor in Italy. He does fucking Westerns in Italy. He becomes an action star in Italy. He moves to Milan and he marries an Italian wife, right? An Italian woman becomes his wife. So what do we have here? It's that Venus Jupiter conjunction, and it's in Gemini, but Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So literally he zooms out of his third house, moves to Italy, and becomes basically a spaghetti Western action hero. And the moon becomes something quite different, right? He marries somebody like completely out of his culture. When he was a little kid kicking around, the Fifth Ward in Newark, you think he ever thought to himself, hey, one of these days I'm going to move to Italy and I'm going to be a spaghetti Western action hero star. And I'm going to marry this beautiful Italian woman and we're going to live in Milan. And I'm going to live the life of a Renaissance king while I'm there. Do you think Marvin Hagler ever had that thought? I don't think so. I don't think he had that thought, but that's what happened. Eventually he moves back to the States. And unfortunately, I think Marvin got and he's no longer with us, passed away. So a legend, an absolute legend, marvelous Marvin Hagler, one of the best pound for pound heavyweight boxers of all time. All right. So let me just round today's show off by thanking everybody for being here. And thank you for all your support and being a part of the locals group, which is going really well in terms of participation and signups. I'll be posting something there today. What else? If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, somebody bought me 50 cups of coffee. Whoever you were, thank you for the 50 cups of coffee. It was very kind of you. Thank you. Really appreciate that. And that's a way that you can help support the show. You can also help support the show by employing me as an astrologer. And I'm quite good at relocation, relationship charts, transits, you name it. I'm your one-stop shop for astrology. Come find me at robertphoenix.com. What else? Subscribe, like, bell. You know the drill. Come join us over at 15 minutes. Link in the show description. And we are going to have a moment of appreciation for Thomas Massey, who wound up defeating his heavily funded APAC opponent. Go Thomas. Thanks for being here. Get outside. Take advantage of that Sag moon. Oh, tomorrow. You got to be here tomorrow. Tomorrow, Miriam Hynum, who has done the most intense work around George Floyd, has a video documentary and is in the process of having the ultimate book on George Floyd published, will be with us tomorrow on the 4th anniversary of the George Floyd debacle, the Summer of Floyd. I have a feeling that this is going to be one of the highest rated shows that we've done. And if it's not, then the fix is in. All right. Take good care. Love you all. Have a blessed day. Bye for now.